Okay, so this is how to score bowling. So first off, the basics. The scores will be from 1 to 10 because there's 10 pins in bowling. So it depends on how many pins you knock over, and that's 1 through 10. A spare, so you get 2 tries in each frame to bowl, to knock down 10 pins. And if you roll the first one and don't get all 10 pins down, then you try again, and the second time you get all the pins down, that is called a spare. So a spare is when you get all 10 pins down on the second try. And that, in scoring, a spare, you add the next roll after those two to that part, which I will explain later, or go more in depth on later. A strike is where you get all 10 pins down on the first roll, and with the strike, you add the next 2 rolls to that frame's score. So when we look at a frame, this is just one frame. In bowling, there's 10 frames, but so your first roll, however many you get in here on the first roll, your score will be right here. So say you knocked 7 down, that'll be a 7 there. If you get the next 3 down that are left, then you would put a strike there for a spare, like this. That means a spare happened. If you were to do a strike, you have your 2 rolls. If you get a strike, it goes right here, and then nothing would go right there, because that's all you needed in that one frame. So if we look at multiple frames and how the scores add up. So I have 4 frames here, just a little sneak peek at all 10. I'm not going to go a whole length, so we're going to go with 4 right now. So the first one, you roll 6, okay? The next roll, you get only 3. That means your total score right now is 9. This is at the bottom is where your total score goes. So you have 9 right now. So the next frame, you roll 8 and then a spare. Now, you could say your score is 19 right now because you have 10 down and plus the 9, which would be 19. But since this is a spare, you have to add the next roll. The next roll, you're on fire. You get a strike. That's 10 pins that you add on to this 10 because you add on the next roll. Your next roll is all 10. If it was a 7, you'd only add 7. So you add 20 total to this 9 because you have 10 right here, and you add the next roll, which is another 10, which is 20. So right here is 29. Now, with the strike, you have to look at the next 2 rolls, like I mentioned earlier. So this means you get only 4 this time, and then you get 5. So you add the 10 right here to this number, but you also add the next 2 rolls. So this is a total of 19. 9 here plus your 10. So 19 plus the 29. You're going to have to use your math, which is 48. And now we're not done. So now we have to add this 9 to that 48, which is 57. So that would continue to go on. Hopefully that makes sense. We'll cover it more. So stop the video right now and do this on your own. And then once you've got your answers, then press play again, and we'll hopefully you'll see if you got your answers right. So if I was to score this, you got 5 plus 3 is 8. It's your starting score. Then you get an 8, and then you get the next 2, so you have a spare. The spare, you add 7 because 7 is your next roll. With a spare, you only add 1, not both of them. So you have 10 right here, plus 7, 17. 17, adding back to the 8, 25. Now you go on to the next frame. You got 7 and 2, 9. There's no spare strike, so you just add it right up. 9 plus 25 is 34. Now you have a strike. For a strike, you have to add the next 2 rolls. So you add 10 plus 3 and 6, which equals 19 total. So you come back and you have 19 plus the 34 equals 53. Now you go on to the next part and you add 9 total because you have 3 plus 6, and since there's no spare strike, you just add it right on. So 53 plus 9 equals 62. And hopefully you got the same scores as I did. And that is how you do the scoring for bowling.